Today we'll learn some topics in neuroanatomy, the ascending and descending tracts. So, ascending and descending tracts are the topics which often we find it difficult. So, in this video, will try to sort it out. So, there are two spinal column tracts. One is ascending and descending tract. Ascending tract is the one that carries information from the body parts to the brain, and descending tracts are the one which carry information from the brain to the body parts. So there are three types of ascending tracts, as you can see here. One is dorsal column tract, spinocerebellar tract, and spinothalamic tract. So these are the three ascending tracts: dorsal column tract, spinocerebellar tract, and spinothalamic tract. And this is the pictorial representation of the three types of ascending tracts. So first we'll see the descending tract, and here this one in the dorsal part of the spinal cord, it is actually the cross section of the spinal cord. So this diagram is the cross section of the spinal cord, which contains the three ascending tracts, which contains ascending and descending tracts. First we'll see about the ascending tracts. So the dorsal column tract is represented here. So this one is So this one is the fasciculus gracilis, and this one is fasciculus cuneatus. So medial part of the dorsal column tract is called fasciculus gracilis, and lateral part of the dorsal tract is called as fasciculus cuneatus. So these two join to make dorsal column tract. And the next one is SCT, that is spinocerebellar tract. So it is represented here in the spinal cord. There are two types of spinocerebellar tracts. One is dorsal SCT and ventral SCT. Actually, diagrammatically both are lateral tracts, but they are named like ventral and dorsal spinocerebellar tract. And then there are two spinothalamic tracts. One is lateral spinothalamic tract and anterior spinothalamic tract. So dorsal column tract is it carries information like conscious proprioception, fine touch, vibration, and pressure. So these two nerve bundles like fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus, which belongs to dorsal column tract, carries information like conscious proprioception, fine touch, vibration, and pressure. And spinocerebellar tract carries unconscious proprioception. So the difference between conscious and unconscious proprioception is when a doctor is examining a patient and he is asking to close the eyes of the patient, and when he lift the, for example, when he lift the index, when he flex and extend the index, the patient should say that he is currently flexing and extending his fingers. So that is conscious proprioception. We are concentrating on the joint sense. So that is conscious proprioception. And SCT carries unconscious proprioception. That means, let's say when we are walking, we have to flex the knee and extend the knee. We have to flex the hip, extend the hip. So these are the sequence of movements that we do while walking, but we do not always focus on the flexion extension of the joints, right? We just like that walk. So that unconscious sensation is called as unconscious proprioception. Unconscious sense of the joint sense is called unconscious proprioception. So proprioception is basically the sense of joint position. So I'm sure that you already know about that. And next is spinothalamic tract. So for a short summary, we have seen that there are three ascending tracts. One is DCT, SCT, and STT, that is dorsal column tract, spinocerebellar tract, and spinothalamic tract. Dorsal column tract carries sensation like conscious proprioception, fine touch, vibration, pressure. Spinocerebellar tract carries unconscious proprioception. And next is spinothalamic tract. There are two spinothalamic tract. One is lateral and anterior. Lateral spinothalamic tracts carries pain and temperature sensation. So, and then anterior spinothalamic tract carries sensation like crude touch and pressure. We can remember in this way that I'm sure that you know there is a muscle called latissimus dorsi. Its short form is lat. So a patient comes to you with pain in the lat, pain, and you examine. When you palpate the muscle, you feel warmth. So in that way, you can remember. So latissimus dorsi, pain in the latissimus dorsi, and when you palpate, there is warmth. So warmth is nothing but the temperature. So in this way, you can remember. Lateral spinothalamic tract is for pain and temperature, and anterior spinothalamic tract is for crude touch and pressure. So you should always compare things while you study. So we have seen that crude touch is carried by spinothalamic tract and fine touch is carried by dorsal column tract. So you should always be aware and don't confuse these touch sensation. Crude touch is always from anterior spinothalamic tract. So we have to remember that. And coming to the pathways of the tracts, where they decussate and where they relay. These are the important topics, and it will also be useful when we study brainstem syndromes in general medicine. So these tracts and their pathways are the baseline for understanding the brainstem syndromes. So first we will see about the pathway of spinothalamic tract. The spinothalamic tract, the first order neurons of the spinothalamic tract originate from the dorsal root ganglion, and these first order neurons in the spinal cord itself, they rely on the second order neuron, and the second order neuron decussate in the spinal cord itself. So they decussate obliquely. Okay, that oblique decussation is very important. We will learn the importance in Brown-Séquard syndrome. So in the next video, I will post about the Brown-Séquard syndrome. In that video, you will find the importance of the oblique decussation, why I stress on it. So basically, spinothalamic tract decussates at the level of spinal cord itself, and these second order neurons, when they decussate and travel up to rely on the ventral posterolateral nucleus of the thalamus. So spinothalamic tract, from the name itself, we can understand that it carries sensation from the body parts through the spine and relay it on thalamic nucleus. So it is called as spinothalamic tract. And that nucleus where the information is relayed on is called as ventro-posterolateral nucleus of the thalamus. And we have seen that what are the sensation that reach the VPL via STT is, just now we have seen lateral STT carries pain and temperature, anterior STT carries crude touch and pressure. So this green color is lateral spinothalamic tract, and this blue color is anterior spinothalamic tract. Coming to dorsal column tract, and dorsal column tract decussates at the level of medulla, and this is actually the spinal cord. I forgot to tell you before. So this is the cross section of the spinal cord, and this is the dorsal root ganglion from which the first order neuron originates, as we have seen earlier. And the difference is, in the last STT we have seen that the fibers decussate at the level of spinal cord itself, but in DCT the nerve fibers will decussate at the level of medulla. So this green color portion is the medulla oblongata, where the dorsal column tract decussates, and it rely on the same nucleus like STT, spinothalamic tract, that is VPL nucleus of the thalamus. And in both these pathways, second order neurons are the one which decussates. The only difference is the location. When the decussation occurs at the level of spinal cord itself, that is spinothalamic tract, and when the decussation occurs at the level of medulla, it is dorsal column tract. And there are two important nucleus we have to know in the dorsal column tract. One is nucleus gracilis and another one is nucleus cuneatus. In the first cross section of the spinal cord diagram, we have seen that nerve bundles, right? The medial part and lateral part of the DCT. The medial part is called as fasciculus gracilis and the lateral part of the DCT is called as fasciculus cuneatus. These two portions, the nerve fibers from fasciculus gracilis rely on nucleus gracilis. In the same way, the nerve fibers from the fasciculus cuneatus, they rely on nucleus nucleus cuneatus. So, and from nucleus cuneatus, the second order neurons arise and they decussate at the level of medulla and rely on the thalamus nucleus. And we have seen what are the sensations that are carried by DCT: fine touch, pressure, conscious proprioception and vibration. So these are the four sensations carried by the DCT. And SCT, which is spinocerebellar tract, it carries information from the body parts to the spine and they rely on the cerebellum. So there are two spinocerebellar tracts we should remember. One is ventral spinocerebellar tract and another one is dorsal spinocerebellar tract. The interesting thing in this pathway is there is no net decussation. There is no net decussation. Even if you see there is decussation at the level of spinal cord of the ventral spinocerebellar tract, but then when it reaches the cerebellum, it decussates again. You can see here it decussates again and relay on the same side itself, on the ipsilateral side. So there is no net decussation. Only dorsal column tract and spinothalamic tract decussates. Spinocerebellar tract does not decussate. And we have seen that unconscious proprioception is carried by spinothalamic tract, right? Spinothalamic tract carries unconscious proprioception, but the one exception is the unconscious proprioception from the upper limbs are carried by the spinocerebellar tract. So this is the important exception. The unconscious proprioception from the upper limb is carried by spinocerebellar tract. Thank you.